see us coming, but we can make it alone. My heartbeat is drumming, but my head's in the zone. Now hearts may be broken, and tears they may fall, but after decades of hoping, it's nice to be here at all. They didn't see us coming, but we can make it alone. Let's just believe until we have to go home.
Good morning all, welcome back to the Euro Breakfast. I had a wee day off yesterday, we'll get to that at some point. It wasn't just because I was hungover, before somebody says it. But I'm delighted to be joined today by, firstly on my right as you're looking at it on your screen, Clint, our Welsh, we'll call you the correspondent today, will we? Of the 94th minute. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are things with you? I hope it's alright with you.
Pretty well. Especially after Friday night, obviously.
Well, naturally.
Talking of Friday night, the man that delivers me Ryan Gold propaganda every week, and I love him for it. John from the Scots Abroad pod, how you doing, mate?
I'm fantastic, mate. I honestly see when you said that was cancelled. Obviously now know the reasons, but I was like, no wonder yesterday's wasn't on. I don't know who had been roped into that graveyard shift, but when you invited me on, I was like, anything but the 19th. Anything but the 19th. There's no chance I'm appearing anywhere before 4 p.m. that following day.
Benefit of hindsight, I maybe wouldn't have scheduled one for yesterday anyway, but we'll move on swiftly from there, because we'll no doubt touch on that game, but we'll leave that till later on. We'll start with yesterday's games, as we always do, and the first one was, to be fair, it was 3 decent games, but Hungary, France, I really enjoyed, and I think Hungary deserved their point in the end, just for sheer endeavour and riding the crowd, basically. Who wants to start us off?
I'll dive in because I've got another love outside of Ryan Gold, who broke my heart when he left Arsenal to go to Chelsea. Olivier Giroud. I adored this guy from the minute I seen him play for Montpellier, because every season I'd watched Arsenal, I just wanted a big lump of a striker who had good technique about him, that could bounce, just be a wall player for everyone. Yeah. And it felt like I'd watched every manager, Arsenal, Chelsea included, until Didier Deschamps got him at that World Cup and had Griezmann, Mbappe, Pogba, good players around him, and went, we just need a wall player. And see this clamouring to have brought Benzema back. Don't get me wrong, what a season Benzema had. But Giroud, playing or not for Chelsea, as long as he's training every day and fit, his movement and positioning for that World Cup was why Mbappe and Griezmann won them the World Cup. And they've dropped him, and now they have a more mobile striker who wants to get involved. They've kind of had to change the system and play 2 up top with Griezmann in behind, and it looks like it doesn't suit them quite as well. And I reckon you'll see Giroud start the next game against Portugal. I think Giroud will start, because I think the system looks, don't get me wrong, for the last half hour they absolutely dominated and should have got the second goal. I think they're just missing what Giroud brings to the team by just occupying 2 centre halves and keeping them away for the space Mbappe, Griezmann and Pogba can make use of. I think that's what they need to do.
Can't disagree with any of that.
No.
I'm a big fan of Olivier Giroud, and his goal scoring record's phenomenal when you look at the international level as well. Like, he's not just a set-up player, he also contributes, whereas Benzema misses, he's not quite Morata levels, but he misses a few easy chances here and there. We'll get to Morata. I've got a wee rant to have about him.
Oh, there we
go. But yeah, what were your thoughts on that game then, Clint? The Hungarians obviously making a point.
To be fair, I think they deserved it. They deserved the point, to be fair, the Hungarians. I think first half they were very much, I think they were brighter. They looked like they could, you'd sense they could get something. And then when they got the goal, it was just, you could tell, especially when they had that massive, obviously the huge crowd in the Puskás, is it the Puskás Stadium?
Yeah.
Backing them on, it was just incredible. And then you felt they could get something else as a second. And then France, obviously, I think they were a little lucky getting their first goal, I'm not going to say. And then, as you said, it was just, France were just relentless trying to get that second goal. But for me, I just didn't think they were going to get it. If I know it sounds weird, but I just thought with the way that the Hungarians were defending, the way that they had the crowd behind them as well, it was sort of a case of you felt that Hungary were going to get something. I think in the previous game they were unlucky against the Portuguese. I think they deserved something from it. It just the last 10 minutes, just they had a massive collapse. So it was actually quite, considering what happened with that game, for them to actually get something from the France game, I think they deserved it. I felt, I certainly over the two games, the performances they put in, I think they deserved to get something.
I'm happy they've got a point, must admit, because could you imagine being so excited to get back to a tournament and then getting that group given to you?
Oh, yeah.
In a weird way, it might be you might just think, oh, we don't expect it, let's just have a flyer. But yeah, like before yesterday, I'd have fancied them taking something off Germany as well, but I think I might need to change my tune on that one. So probably a good time to get into it. Portugal 2, Germany 4, and it was 4 going on 7 or 8. Just a totally different German team from the first day, and really, really impressive. But Portugal's defence, I'm not going to lie, for a team that I well fancied to win this, looked really, really ropey with a 38-year-old Pepe not exactly coping at the back there. We'll come to you first then, Clint, this time.
Okay. I think what you said is true. I thought in the first game, Portugal didn't look amazing. I'll be honest. It was only like in the last 10 minutes I thought that they actually came good. And then in this game, it was just crazy. It was just a case of, I'll be honest, I was trying to watch the game, and every time I was stepping out, I was missing a goal. It was frustrating. It really was frustrating. I'd go make a tea. Oh, they've scored 2. So, but in fairness to Germany, considering the last game, which I think they did all right against France. I thought they were solid. They weren't spectacular, but they were solid enough. And there was signs there that made me think that they could get something. In this game, I did worry at them when they first went 1-0 down. Then they came back and they were fantastic, and it reminded me a lot of the Germany of 2014. It was like that, and that's what they need. And it really makes me worry now. Is because we've discounted them so much from the first game, and also prior to the tournament where they lost to North Macedonia, and obviously the criticism that Jogi Löw has been under. You kind of think, are they now on a roll? Are they going to go straight to the final? Are they going to do what Germany always do and just be underdogs and just roll to the final? But I was really impressed with Germany. But for Portugal, it's a bit of a worry, that defence, and I wouldn't want Pepe chasing after some of my pacey wingers. I'll be honest. I know he's a master of the dark arts and will give you a poke in the eye or a trip up. He'll get away with that things, but there's only so much you can do before you get found out on pace. And for all the talent of Portugal, they have got batch winners, and obviously when you got Cristiano being Cristiano, you're always going to get something. But yeah, it's a bit of a worry, that defence, to be fair.
See a lot of love for John in the chat at the minute, so it's appropriate to come to you now, mate.
I feel there's a lot of people for the Trampled Back podcast group in here.
But yeah,
Germany, do you know what? See what you were talking about Pepe with the dark arts? I think he's removed a lot of that for his game, and I think that's actually a big problem, because I think he could have really wound up Gnabry or Havertz yesterday, and he didn't. He looks very kind of. He's 38 years old, right? So he is going to have grown up, but. The season he's just had with Porto doesn't add up to what I'm seeing. He looks all over the place, especially having Ruben Dias next to you, who we get the pleasure of watching almost every week. Yeah. He's unreal, phenomenal. But after the first 15 minutes, Germany absolutely destroyed them. Like, every attack Germany had looked like there was going to be a goal. And did we find out why Bernardo Silva went off at half time?
Well, the commentary seemed to think he had a nick. I'm not convinced he did. I think it might have been a tactical switch, because he was giving the ball away and so on. But he's some kind of player to drop for that.
He would never be out. He would never be out the team. I mean, you see him contributed to the goal. The pass to Jota for the goal was phenomenal, because the obvious pass that everyone was screaming for was Ronaldo going clean through in the middle, and he ignored it. And I was like, he's got that bit of class, and I'm like, you can't keep subbing people off. And if I'm chasing a goal, at the end of the match, I'm not taking off Bruno Fernandes, my corner taker, my set piece taker, for putting balls into the box. Ronaldo takes everything that's even remotely within shooting distance, and rightly so. But I wouldn't be taking him off. Rafa Silva, who completely changed the game against Hungary, looks like he's still got a lot to learn. He looks like a wee bit of an old-fashioned winger where sometimes he should pass and go instead of try to take people on, because a lot of that Gustins had him in his back pocket when he first came on. But yeah, Germany looked quite devastating, and I think Hungary are in for an absolute pummeling. But I don't know what kind of protest Hungary fans have got set up for that. They've done the Black Lives Matter, they've done the homophobia protest, so I don't know what they've got for their third game. But Manuel Neuer turning up with a Pride captain's armband probably isn't going to go down too well.
I'm here for it, by the way.
Hungary are the baddies now.
Bear in mind, Hungary are going away to Munich, and there's currently going through the kind of Munich's local parliament. There's a kind of petition going through to have it lit up in the LGBT colours, which I quite enjoy as well. Oh, you go, John. I thought you were going to say something.
Well, yeah, we were watching. I've still not seen. I know Germany. I know, like, for a lot of the lip service that these companies give, I know Volkswagen are like, they don't do a Pride month. Volkswagen are consistently pushing Pride. All the captains in Bundesliga wear Pride armbands, and it was only like when I seen Neuer yesterday, I remembered. I was, oh my god, he's actually not wearing the UEFA discrimination band. He's wearing a Pride captain's armband. So they are totally invested in it. So yeah, I would expect Germany being on the pulse of everything kind of liberal and forward thinking, that there will be something coming up.
Ben, we'll get there. Don't worry, mate. I've pulled your message up. But Jock, here we go. It's Spain time. Spain won, Poland 0. There's always one big team that's a letdown in the Euros. And I feel like Spain are that team this time round. They might not even get through the groups at this stage, because Morata is not a quality striker, regardless what anyone tells me. I refuse to believe that this guy's worth 30, 40, 50 million pounds in anyone's
He's got good
money.
agents, to be fair. Like.
He must have a fantastic agent, this guy, but he misses more good chances than he puts away. And the one with the penalty, right? You're trying to tell me that a world-class striker with that rebound doesn't take his time to set his feet and stick it into an empty net, and instead he panics, gets happy feet, and just lets the ball bounce off. It's just, I don't understand why he plays for Spain. I don't get it. Moreno is 10 times the player Morata is in my mind. And I know they tried to shoehorn both of them in. I don't get it. And I just think Spain are going to pass themselves to death and go at the tournament with a whimper, to be honest, because Poland should never have got anything at that game. And Spain let them get a draw, basically.
Poland looked more dangerous as the game went on as well. I thought Poland were going to catch them on the break. I thought Spain had made subs that had completely depleted the team. When I look at I've got the bench in front of me just now. Thiago on the bench. I don't see any of those midfielders better than Thiago. None of them. I know Llorente had a great season, so is Koke. They won the league, but they're not better than Thiago, and not for what he wants to do, which is really surprising for me. The way that I'd seen Enrique football played at Barcelona, it feels like they are an attacking team. They're in a Barcelona set-up team. Aspilicueta not playing at centre half. De Gea not in goals. Now De Gea didn't have a good season at Man U, but that goalie offers me nothing. That goalie looks really timid for somebody that's 6'4" in the goal, to the point where I didn't think Lewandowski's header was amazing. I thought a big goalie from that distance should get it, but he looked like he'd moved his foot once and then dived and was out of play. I was like, nah. And even with his distribution, I think you're not getting loads out of him there either. I'm the same with you. Although I had Morata on first goal last night, so I was happy for that. But I would have Moreno as the centre of the three. It would be the centre of the three. And this isn't like club football where teams do tend to camp in. There would be space for Tryon and Adama Traore in a game just to see, just to see what he can offer. Because what I see right now is Spain pass the ball side to side with no actual conviction and breaking through teams the way they did 10 years ago. It's just not the same team, and they're trying to play the same football. I think just dead timid, and it also is waiting on a Koke card, and I don't understand why you take him off to replace him with another sitting midfielder. So I was raging. I'm not happy with Luis Enrique right now.
I think Enrique just seems to be that stubborn that he's going to play his way regardless of what happens, and it's probably going to take them out of the tournament. Ken, we will get there, because Danny Murphy made the
Oh,
most idiotic,
God,
idiotic comment amongst a few of them last night, but potentially I've ever heard in commentary. But we'll go to Clint first for your thoughts on the game, mate.
Yeah, I think I agree with basically what John just says. It's for me, Spain are so frustrating because you can see they've got talent there. They've got so much exceptional attacking ability, and you can see that if they just try out a bit of a, just start to think, maybe pass a bit forward a bit more would be nice. But the fact that it's just constantly passing around, and it's passing for the sake of passing, and it's hard to watch at times for Spain. It really is. You just want someone to just get it by the scruff of the neck and go, right, we're gonna go for it. Just push it, and it just doesn't seem to be anything like that from Spain. It's, for me, Enrique. I mean, he's gone into this tournament. I think he sort of like lessened his options first off by just picking 24 players instead of 26. Yeah. So first off, you're wondering, well, what's going on there? And then he hasn't picked any experienced players, which I think. I mean, obviously Sergio Ramos is the obvious choice, and I think maybe he might have been helped certainly the younger players coming in to give away a little bit of leadership, just that link with the World Cup winning squad, just something there to help him push on a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's just the players he's brought in, and I like the squad he's got. I'm looking at it now, and it's a decent squad, but it's just, for me, it's just not clicking. And for me, and to have last night, to have an 18-year-old essentially running your midfield in Pedri, he kept him on for so long, and you think, all right, I understand he's a good talent, he's the future of Spain, but is that really benefiting you? He could have made some changes there, which could have changed the game for him. And ultimately, as we've seen with Spain, if you don't put the ball away, you're going to get punished, and that's what happened with Poland. They didn't deserve really much. I think Poland have been poor, to be fair. Yeah. They're not a great side, Poland. I mean, they've got one good striker, and that's it. I mean, no offense to any Polish people watching, but it's not a great team. It's not a great team. And for them to get a point there, you shouldn't be doing that. If you want to win this tournament, you shouldn't be letting teams do that. And we've seen again in the previous game with Sweden. To be fair to Sweden, I think they did a good job. They went in there with a defensive plan, and they did it to perfection, to be fair. But even then, you think Spain should have won that. They had chances, they could have done that. You kind of wonder if they'd played with, as I say, with a Moreno from the start. I mean, maybe they could have got something, or as brought in Traore, or even gave him let Ferran Torres play a bit more like he does in City. They might have got something a bit more from those games, and you do worry from. You think, well, if you can't beat Sweden and Poland, you're not going to go too far in this tournament, really.
The thing is, they should have won 3-1.
Yeah,
but Murata. I'll just say that. The squad they've got is an embarrassment of riches. I just don't understand. There's a bit of arrogance about picking 24, in my opinion. That Enrique's almost gone, we don't need 26. Let everyone else have that. We don't need that. And there's just, they're not really shown that they're fully committed. I don't feel like either. Not in a Danny Murphy sense that he's thinking it's all about snot and passion and tears and blood and all that. But there just didn't really seem to be a real drive at the end of the game to get that win. For me, they almost looked as if they were out of ideas, and they were just hitting and hoping towards the end. Just it's not a Spanish team that I recognise from the teams I've had previous. Just the way they play, they're trying and failing to do the full tiki-taka, and I think it shows, to be honest. But someone actually said in the chat, I think it was Jock, saying close friend of mine, Spanish, she says most of Spain wrote off this tournament before the kick-off. Head coach being an ex-Barcelona guy, didn't pick a single player from Real Madrid, which is interesting as well. But I'm not going to dwell on Danny Murphy because I'll get in a 5-minute rant, and I'm not about that life on a Sunday morning. We'll move into today's games, and we'll start looking ahead, because now we've got to the point where it's double headers. Unfortunately, we've lost our 3 games a day, but it's business time. and this is where it gets really exciting for here on in. And we'll start off with the big one in terms of you, Clint. Italy playing host to Wales. I think avoiding a calamitous defeat, you guys are basically through on 4 points. So mission, keep it tight tonight, basically.
I think so. It's as I said prior to this to the stream starting, it would require a 5-goal swing for us to finish third, and that would require Switzerland as well to win against Turkey. I think so. I think so. Yeah, I think it's a case of keeping it tight tonight. Don't try and. I mean, let's be fair for Wales. This is a bit of a free hit for us. We're in a position where this is what we wanted prior to the tournament. We hoped we could get 4 points, and we kind of hoped that Italy would have won the first 2 games and already qualified. And we've got that ideal scenario now. So for us, I think if we get anything from Rome, it'd be amazing. And I think we could. I think we could potentially do that. I'd imagine Italy are going to be playing a lot of their second string tonight.
Yeah.
Because they're guaranteed whatever happens. And even no matter if you finish first or second, actually the run-in's quite nice towards the quarterfinals. In fact, I think finishing second is probably would be more beneficial to Spain, to be fair. I think they would, if they get through, they could get to the quarterfinals and potentially face the Netherlands in the quarters, which I think they'll beat. Whereas if they win the group, they could potentially have Belgium in the quarters. So if we win the group and get to the quarters again. Ooh, we got that again. But shades of 2016. But I think tonight it's going to be a very changed Italy squad. It's still going to be a tough squad because it's still Italy. They've got a really decent squad. I think what Roberto Mancini's done with that Italian side is phenomenal. Really, really good. You're going into the tournament. I think it's like 27 games unbeaten prior to going into the tournament. And the way Italy have played in the first 2 games, they've been phenomenal. Really, really good. You look at them and think, they could really win this tournament, really go on and do well. So for us tonight, I think it's a case of, yes, it's a free hit. Try not to get too heavily beat. To be fair, throughout our period prior to the tournament, we've never really been heavily beaten by any teams. We don't get beat heavily nowadays. I remember the old days when Wales were getting beaten to countries who were newly made independent. So for us to be in Europe now, in the European Championships is a huge step up. And we don't get beat heavily to these teams anymore. So I think tonight I can see it being a draw, if I'm being honest. I think Italy won't really want to push too much. Wales will probably be quite happy with the draw. Both teams would be very happy. They're through. Happy days, and I'll take that all day week.
A little bit of me just panged with jealousy when you said that Wales don't lose to wee teams anymore. I'd love to be able to say that about Scotland.
I'm still in awe of it now. I still can't get over the fact we're in this situation. It's mind blowing. Ever since 2016, I've been in this blur, and I'm expecting it to all just fall apart. We'll start losing to Andorra and things like that again. I'm expecting it. I've been too damaged by the 90s. I keep feeling it's going to re-emerge again.
I just get damaged every day of life watching Scotland. Mate. I still get that nervous memories of the Faroes when we almost get beat over there, and Georgia, Macedonia. It's too many to mention, to be honest. But right, John, we'll come to yourself. I kind of fancy Italy to still win this one, but a lot will depend on the teams that get fielded. Both sides might field weakened sides here.
And this is where I was going to go to. I actually don't think Italy will rest people. I think they made their changes. They put their colours to the mask when they didn't take Immobile off when they could have. And when I look at the subs they did make against Switzerland, there is a real drop-off in that squad. When you take out Barella, when Chiellini comes off injured, when you take out Insigne, there is a severe drop-off in talent. Federico Chiesa has had a good season at Juventus, but Juventus have been overly rebuilding. I think he might just go for broke here and try and I think what he's got going with that team is as close to a club team as I've ever seen. And now the way they play, everyone knows their role, knows their position. I think Insigne wants goals. He's playing his third game at Rome again, and so he's played all his group games at home. I have Insigne top scorer at 22-1, which was ridiculous odds pre-tournament. I could not understand that. And I've got Italy to win it as well. So I'm fingers crossed, but unfortunately, for yourself, I do think Italy will put out a fairly strong side and make subs when the game's done, because I think they want to keep this winning mentality going. They want to keep a clean sheet. The boy I do a trample bet with, that was his bet pre-tournament, was Italy to win all the group games 2-0, and that was like 9-1, and it's, as it stands, coming in. I think Italy look really, really good. Like they've been the one team, barring Germany yesterday, but Italy are the one team that I've watched and went, oh my god, they look on the money right now. But I mean, a narrow defeat for Wales. I think 1 or 2-0, and I think Turkey Switzerland will be a draw. So I think Wales are keeping that second spot anyway, and that result would also really benefit Scotland.
Yeah. So Turkey, Switzerland, please do draw. We'll get to these now, but the only thing I'd add there is that's a fantastic bet, by the way, whoever called that out, because if I'd known that was 91, I'd have gone for it.
Yeah.
And
10 clean sheets in a row that is now. Like
they've scored 34 goals without reply. It was a stat that I saw, which is just... I know 7 of those were San Marino, but even so, like, to go through a full qualifying group, basically, not concede a single goal. They've not got Chiellini, but they're still very strong. Like, the one place they've got depth is defence. They've got Verratti potentially coming back today into fitness. That'll be beneficial for him at a game there's not as much riding on. He can get a 90 minutes under his belt. They're just improving that team, and it's already ridiculous with Verratti coming in. So it's the only issue is it would be Locatelli he'd be displacing. Can you really drop Locatelli? I don't think so. Not after the last game. He was absolutely phenomenal. So, but that's the thing. Italy's the only country I feel so far that's impressed in both games, like overly impressed in both games. France were really good the first game they played. A wee bit left to be desired against Hungary. You've had other like nations that have shone one game and not so much the next game. At the minute, Italy's the only side going into these final group slates that you just can't look past, I don't think. And I still think Wales will keep it tight. I could say a 1 or 2-0, but I think that would suit everyone, to be honest.
Yeah,
Clint's nodding, so I'm assuming that's a yes. And we'll go into Switzerland, Turkey now, which I'll come back to yourself, John, given that you've just predicted a draw.
I don't think quickly, Ben. It was Andy Vaughan, not Gordo. Gordo would never pull a bet like that out. It was Andy. Turkey, Switzerland. Both of these teams, Switzerland. I remember I felt like Switzerland were a dark horse at one point getting into these major tournaments, just because the squad they had. But for as good as Brielle and Bolo is, I feel like if you're going into a major tournament again with Severovic as your striker, the way he's been playing, he looks so off the boil. Like they need to get Mbolo closer to him. And anyone who knows me knows my disdain for the pretend footballer that is Granit Xhaka. He is so poor. He's so average, and he's been the linchpin of that team for 12 years now, and he's just so bang average. And Turkey, I actually think, will turn up. And I think you'll see Turkey being able to catch him on the counter-attack and actually put in the type of display that I had seen loads of folk have them marked as a dark horse for this tournament because of the result against Holland. They look really, really good. I think this will be a really, really good game as well, because both teams really have to go and win this game. So you won't see Switzerland being as pragmatic as they maybe were after taking the lead against Wales, and you won't be able to see Turkey play the way they did against Wales. Wales absolutely played them to a T. They didn't know what they were doing. It always helps when you get Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale. Like those are two of the best players at the tournament. Never mind having them in one team. So it does help, and I don't think maybe. To be fair, I mean, if I'm looking at Ramsey, Calhanoglu is that level, is the same level as Aaron Ramsey, but he just doesn't look like he's got it. Burak Yilmaz is a fantastic finisher, but he's a hustling, bustling striker. If you don't get anyone around him, you get the same issue. Yeah. But I think this could be a really good game. I think 1-1 is the stick-on bet for this. I can't see any team overly dominating the whole game, and I think there'll be chances at both ends. But I mean, it might be my heart leading me here, but I mean, I'm like 1-1, please, just get the draw. Wales can get through. It means that's one less team that can possibly finish on above 3 points for the Scottish group, and we take it from there.
Lama, that's a good point. Actually, Belgium did look pretty good in both games, but I think Italy have just been first to last in both games. The only team that you've gone wow so far. So yeah, maybe should have thrown Belgium into that chat. The thing with Turkey is overall they're quite a young squad, but they're relying on the old boys, and the old boys are showing they're old. Like Yilmaz can't do it himself. He's still got a bit of pace about him, but he needs support. He's not as young as he used to be. He's, as you say, he's a hustle and bustle striker, Johnny. He needs someone there to be shadowing him, essentially, and giving him the chances in a plate. He doesn't want to be going out to the wings for clearances, because that's what he's been forced to do so far this tournament. Çalhanoğlu's looking old as well. He's just not really on the pace, I don't feel like. Even defensively, Soyuncu's been really dodgy. The amount of times he gets the ball at the back, and you can almost sense the other team pressing him going, we're going to get this ball from him, he can't pass it. And he just gives it straight to the opposition, and suddenly it's a massive chance. Yeah, I think Switzerland's the only team that I've got as much disdain for.
You wait. I've got no love for Switzerland at the moment. I love them. They've got nice kits, but they're one of these teams that are a bit like. The other night they had the shirts and they had a Helvetica font on the back of their shirts. That's what they got. That's what the lower rank, like the lower case font on their shirts.
That me as well. That's hilarious.
It's Helvetica. But for me, they're not like Helvetica. They're like New Times Roman. That's what they are. They're like boring. They're always there. You just think, oh yeah, okay, it's there, it's being used. It's just like, they had like they're like the sponge cake of international football. It's just boring, just so hard. Just why? What's the point? All right, you're there, nice, but you're not going to excite me. You're not going to do anything, And that's what I feel with Switzerland. They're just it's just they always seem to qualify, and yet they never do anything. And that's what really annoys me about them. They never seem to get better. They always just like on this nice little neutral line, just don't do anything. They haven't won a knockout game since 1938. That's how bad they are. And you just think, I can't see them tonight. This is going to be, I think, it's going to be a bad game. I think, because you got two sides who, well, they just haven't really lit up the tournament. All right, Switzerland did all right against Wales, but Wales were awful. That was the worst performance I've seen from Wales in a long, long time, and it made Switzerland did look good, to be fair. But to be fair, I would imagine Turkey should, I agree with that. For Turkey, I think they need to show something tonight. I think that it's obviously going into this tournament. I myself even said that they were dark horses. I really thought they would give Wales a real tough time in the second game. So to see us destroy them as we did was incredible. So they need to go into this tournament. Into the final game. Just go out there. Just go and get an attack at these Swiss, because I think they can be got at. And I think tonight it will be a draw, or it'll be a Turkey win. It won't be a Swiss win. Not with the strikers they've got. They're really, really bad, the Swiss strikers. My goodness. And even their sort of MVP, in inverted commas, of Shaqiri has just been non-existent. He's ran around. He's done bits and bobs, but he's not lit up the tournament. And you usually expect him to score a screamer in every tournament, and he hasn't even done that. So I can't see anything other than a Turkey win today. Or it'd be a draw or a Turkey win. It will not be a Swiss win.
The issue the Swiss have got, I think, is most of their team haven't played football this season. Most of them have been bench riding. And you can't go into a major tournament like this with guys that aren't up to speed sharpness-wise. And they have looked a bit sluggish. Like, I think Wales almost tried to gift them the win, and they didn't take it. That was their chance, basically. But they're one of these teams that if they go through in the knockouts, it'd be one and done, see you later. There's just not any spark in there. Other than Shaqiri, what creativity is there? All their midfielders, you're looking at Freuler, Fasnacht, so they're just grafters. Basically, there's nothing in there that excites you. So, I actually think Turkey will win tonight. It's in Baku, they've got all their own fans there again. It's just basically a home game. They need to do something at some point. Turkey, they're too decent a squad not to get at least a point in this tournament. So I could either a draw or a Turkey win. I'd agree with both of you, I think, as well. I love some of the some of the chat there as well. Not only did we get a cool runnings drop, but like Times New Roman for Switzerland. All about that. Just let's be thankful that both of them are on the same time. We can watch Italy Wales instead, and we can just keep an eye on the other one. But that brings us to any chat anymore, and I've already seen it. People want to talk Scotland England, so I guess we start where Ben was leaving off, saying, "Have you called out the anti-Stephen O'Donnell crowd yet?" I wasn't being anti-Stevie. I was clamouring for Forrest to start. I'm quite happy to humble pie on that because he turned up and he was fantastic. That whole team, man, were fantastic. And I know the first 20-25 minutes the game passed by a lot of them. Like Billy Gilmore struggled initially. It looked like he was just finding his feet, but by God, see, when we got comfortable in the game, we found our feet, we started getting chances. I've not been impressed with a Scotland performance like that for a long time. And I think Clark got it after maybe making a few mistakes the first game tactically, was absolutely spot on there. So I'm delighted basically with how we played the other night.
It was very Holland-esque, the friendly as well. Like this seems to be the better team that come up against us. The way our system and play works, it seems to be teams have so underestimated it. They don't know how to press because they think we're playing a back five. They clearly don't even bother watching us. They think we're playing a back five to go up to Lyndon Dykes, and we don't. We play out for the back, and that's what Danny Murphy said. Micah Richards said that he was most surprised with how much we played out from the back and played through the lines. So I was uber impressed. There wasn't a player in that team that let anyone down, including Armstrong and that coming on later on. As for the O'Donnell thing, I was the same as you. For me, anyone, and Ben, I know you've been waiting for this opportunity. This is why you kept quiet on Twitter. You waited for me to come on here because you wanted to call me out. See, this is like, I am so vocal watching Arsenal with how bad Granit Xhaka is. And see when he scores his one screamer out of 9,000 shots that go into the Hale End, I get messages from people going, "Do you still think Granit Xhaka's terrible?" And I go, yes. One performance isn't disproving my opinions. I felt on Monday, Stephen O'Donnell was wildly out of his depth. But in his defence, and anyone who's listened to me on podcasts, that was contributed by Kieran Tierney not playing.
Yeah.
Stephen O'Donnell, being a defensive right wing back, is absolutely fine in this team as long as we have both of them on the left side playing, because his job isn't to go forward. And do you know what actually goes in his favour? See, when that left side is there, he actually can get forward without the same pressure. When he's seen his cross for Che Adams was tremendous. His shot, he's actually hit his volley. I hate this saying, but this cliche works. He hits the volley too well. He has to scuff it over his hand. He hits it perfectly. And because we had that left side, it's so lopsided, folk fear it. And it gives O'Donnell time to go man for man with somebody and actually play 1-2s around him and go. In the Czech Republic game, the way we set up, you've seen it when Forrest came on, we needed someone who was a naturally attacking fullback. And that was why I still stand by he's out his depth at this level if we played a natural 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, but we don't. We play. Somebody put a tweet up about Kieran Tierney and Robertson saying they just play left. Neither of them played left centre half, left back, left wing back. They just both play in the left side because none of them do one thing. They're like Kieran Tierney's overlapping, the left centre back's overlapping the left wing back who looks like a left winger or a left back at times. It's so nice to watch. And I was on a podcast down in Manchester before the game, and they actually told me that Kyle Walker was apparently being rested. And I was like, that is music to my ears because he's the paciest fullback in your team. And you've seen Tierney for the O'Donnell volley. Tierney destroyed Reece James for pace and cut back inside of him. Kyle Walker would not have got done the same way for pace. And that was England fans clamouring for Kyle Walker to be dropped because he was the only poor player against Croatia. So it's just really interesting. But yes, I still stand by that I do not think Stephen O'Donnell is the greatest player in the world. But I do not want to talk about that after a performance like that because he was fucking amazing. He was amazing. The only thing I will say, the only thing I will say though is, having watched it back sober, he was at fault for the header. It was his man, John Stones, and he was at fault for England's best chance with Luke Shaw when he never cleared the ball. So don't come at me like there's still not fealties in that man's game, because I watch with a keen eye to wait for it. I don't think Patterson was the equivalent starter. I was the same as you, Mozza. I wanted James Forrest to start just because of what I had seen in the 20 minutes against Czech Republic. He looked really sharp for somebody who'd been out, but I'm not going to come on here and slate. I also don't slate the team lineups when they go out. Like, I never said anything about Stephen O'Donnell pre-Czech, pre-England. Everything I posted was post-Czech and post-England, because I don't like being overly negative when a team lineup, because you still need to go out and play. But I do still think in the coming years there will be a better fullback than Stephen O'Donnell, because I think he is still limited. But maybe calling him completely out of his depth was a bit harsh. But on Monday's viewing, I felt that was just.
The thing is, Stephen O'Donnell's one of these players that knows his own limitations, and he's as honest as they come. So whatever happens, he doesn't try to be anything he's not. He's fully committed to every game he plays. He's a perfect backup, is what I would say. Like, as soon as Patterson comes through and develops and has a full season under his belt, then I think Patterson takes over. But as of the here and now, although here's a controversial thing, I'm dropping him if it's me as manager for the Croatia game. I feel like we need to go for Croatia a bit more. It's a win or bust. So I'm personally playing Forrest, right wing back, against Croatia.
Having watched them with Perisic, though, I've no issues with O'Donnell. Actually, I don't think Perisic knows what to do when he's going back the way, and I think O'Donnell will leave him. I don't know who's put that comment. I just seen somebody talking about Dykes being as equally at fault for the header. It was that if you watched another set piece, so O'Donnell was marking Stones. That's his man. That was his zone. So Dykes is closest to it, but he's not at fault. If you watch another set piece, which I did watch, I watched the game back to do analysis on it. You watch the set plays. O'Donnell's zone is where Stones goes. O'Donnell panics because he sees Dyke lose Kane. And he goes, shh, that's Harry Kane. I need to go to him, and missed the zone. So no, apologies. You're wrong. It was O'Donnell's man. If you watch other set plays, that was his zone, and he was to watch John Stones coming in. That was clear as day, because he's their biggest threat, and O'Donnell's great in the air. So
I love that for the don't slate lineups, because every time I do, somebody has a banger. And you, Ben, would come at me after that. It is questionable. I would argue that O'Donnell was marking Stones. I would agree with that.
it's the zone.
It's the zone. That's the thing. It's
his zone.
You can't really put a guy on a certain player man for man when you're using that zone style as well. And we're not the biggest team, especially when Billy Gilmore's playing. And you take a bit of height out of the team, especially when Che's playing as well, to give you that mobility up front. O'Donnell is one of the tallest players in the team, so you need to have him marking a threat, ultimately. Elsewhere, I mean, there wasn't anyone that had a bad game in a Scotland shirt. England, I didn't really play that badly. We just didn't let them play their game. And the thing is, I was listening quite intently to Gareth Southgate talking about England yesterday, and what he was saying was, look, he was arguing with Souness, and he was saying we cannot play one holding midfielder, we've got to play two holding midfielders, because our defence isn't good enough. It'll get exposed, and he's right. Like, they have to play Rice and Phillips as our holding mids, and they can't get that aggressive going forward because of that. They're relying on creativity from the wings, and they're not getting it through Foden and through Sterling. They weren't that great against Croatia, but they've got the result that papered over a lot of the cracks. I felt like, with the way the squad is, Harry Kane's dropping far too deep for me. He's got to stay up there as a striker. They've got no focal point, especially when he's on his own up front. I don't see England doing much in this tournament unless they have a kind of sea change in what their approach is. They 100%. Need to let their wing backs attack, is the other thing, because there's a chance there to get space on the overlap, and it was there against Scotland, but they never used it. The whole point of James and Shaw being there was, I thought, to attack us, and they just didn't. It was Southgate's, by his nature, a very kind of conservative manager. For a conservative country. But just they just don't inspire you, do they?
I gonna say, with the whole thing with Southgate and his like being cautious, I think a lot of it is down to the fact that if he goes out on a full-on attack, which he should, I think he should, with the amount of players he's got there, and the fact that he's not played Sancho really annoys me, quite frankly. He hasn't given them a minute, and he's a guy who's absolutely tore the Bundesliga apart this season. He's clearly one of the best players going into the tournament in form. The fact he's not tried him is annoying. But going back to the point I was trying to make, I think the reason why he's so cautious is because if he goes like attacking and they get beat, the papers, the media will go at the jugular to him, and I think it happens to all England managers eventually. They might go into the job where they'd be like, oh, we're going to play nice attacking football, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 and everyone starts singing it's coming home, and it never does, because they always refer to titles that we don't want to lose. I don't want to lose because I don't want to get criticised by the papers. And as we've seen with previous England managers, if something bad goes with England, and it often does, the papers, the media, you get the pundits like Rio Ferdinand and this, that. 1 minute he's saying, yeah, England are going to win this, England are going to do that. I guarantee you this: if England lose, he'd be the first to start criticising Gareth Southgate, and they all would. They'll all go for him. And I'll admit, he's not the greatest manager in the world. I think he's quite limited in what he is. And if you ever look at his record as a manager, it's not amazing. But the fact that when you start seeing things going wrong with England, and there are a few issues, certainly with the Harry Kane scenario, where he's going back, and just stay up front, just do what you're good at. You know that instantly the media is going to go right at Southgate because they always look for scapegoats. And then
see what you're saying. See if England want to figure out the issue with their team and needing that double pivot, they only need to look to what we do with our team and our available fullbacks, and they also just need to look back 3 little years when they got to the World Cup semi-final playing a back three. Now, playing a back three means you could play Calvin Phillips as that single pivot. England wouldn't play 3-5-2; they would go back to 3-4-3.
Yeah.
You play Walker right centre back. You play Walker right centre back. You play Stones, Maguire. You play Shaw left wing back. Reece James right wing back, or Kieran Trippier, who's been amazing. You play Phillips and Mount as the 2 in the middle, and you play Foden, Grealish, Kane, or any one of those wide players, and you go at teams and you let the back 3 stay. Unless Kyle Walker goes, you only need the single pivot of Calvin Phillips. You don't need 2 there. You let Mason Mount do. And you know what this also is? It's the system that Reece James and Mason Mount won the Champions League in a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So they know it. The players know it. They understand it. Kyle Walker would play the exact same role as Azpilicueta, where he would overlap and underlap and do the same things Tierney and Robertson do, and they would terrify teams to the point where Scotland wouldn't break on them because they would just be overloaded with attack after attack. And see if Kane's not doing his job, you've got an 18 goal a season Calvin Phillips, Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the bench, who's not got his boots dirty yet. Sancho hasn't been on a pitch. Grealish, I know, has not been fit, but I mean, Grealish gives me nightmares. Like, I'm so glad he wasn't fit to start that game. Yeah. Because you could see the double up starting when he came on. Everyone went, shit, like, double up on him. So if I was England, I would be stopping this pragmatic approach and going at teams, because they have. I was so surprised at how poor they were, because they have players have disappointed, but they have such good players. Yeah. Jadon Sancho's dominating the Bundesliga. It's so bizarre that they still don't understand what their strengths are. They still don't know it, except they're winning the World Cup. That's it.
I'm baffled that Sancho hasn't been thrown on at some point.
It's crazy.
Unlike a lot of England squad, when you look at it, started the season all right and he fell off towards the end. Sterling's one of those, I would say. Sancho's the opposite. He started poorly last season and he finished on fire. Goals, assists, you name it. He's such a creative player for the wings. I just don't understand why they've not thrown him on when they're chasing a game. Yeah. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me when you've got a guy that talented and that exciting as well, that he'll run at people. And there's not enough of that. Grealish, I agree with you as well, that he was the one I was scared of them playing, and I was delighted when he wasn't in the starting lineup. Delighted about it. We're getting a question here for DM. Are you confident we can get a result on Tuesday? And I noticed our resident England fan in there saying, you're dreaming, you've not got a hope. So I think we'll get a chance, given the reason I say that is Croatia's been really poor for me in this tournament. They've looked a bit old. They've looked like this is the last run with this squad. They're kind of similar to what Germany were in the first game. There's a lot of staticness in that midfield. They're just not. Even against the Czechs, they didn't look that mobile. They looked as if you could get at them. The problem Scotland have got is goal scoring, and it always is. We need somebody to get a goal, and we need to keep a clean sheet. I said the same against England before we played England. we can only concede at max 1 goal in any game to win it. We need to be so tight at the back, and that's where the formation comes in. But my worry is it's going to be 0-0. That's my massive kind of. It'll be a missed opportunity for us, and yeah, it'll be not even glorious failure at that point. It'll just be bored to tears. But I'll come to you for a neutral view, Clint, first of all, on Scotland-Croatia.
Excuse me. I agree with you. I think Croatia have really disappointed me in this group. They've just been... They do look tired. They look static. They look really, really... it's almost as if 2018 was their sort of main chance to win anything, and now they're very much on the downward slope. I mean, they are missing a lot of players since 2018, and that's clearly shown. But even with the players that they have got, you'd expect them to do more. I think their manager Dalic is very much under pressure to do some changes. So I would imagine we might see Vlasic make an appearance against Scotland, who is a player who's very highly rated. He's done excellently well in Russia with CSK. We didn't see really his full potential at Everton, but then again, whoever does in Everton. So I would expect there'll be some changes for Croatia. And as you said, they need to go and win the game. I think, to kind of show what they can do. But I got a weird feeling. I think Scotland will do it. I just think the momentum is now behind Scotland to go and get that win. You have to go and get it. You can't sit back. You can't defend. Neither side can, to be fair. And I just think with the sort of the hunger and the youthfulness I think Scotland have got in comparison with Croatia, I just think Scotland will win. I just look at Croatia and just think they look tired. They look old. They look short of ideas. It's not a golden generation. This isn't a golden generation of Croatia, and I just think if Scotland go for it, I think they'll win it. I think they'll do it.
I'm going to hold you to that, right? Somebody else mentioned, I should have probably picked up, Billy Gilmour's basically now starting in this team for the next 15 years, isn't he? He's not getting dropped. And I think he would have played against Croatia anyway, regardless, because he's exactly the kind of player we need in these games. That just so simple in possession, but you don't need to be complicated when you're the centre of that midfield. You recycle possession when the time is right to pass it forward. He finds the through ball. He's just, for a young guy, he looks like he's played for 50 years. He's just so comfortable on the ball, and it's kind of weird as a Scot seeing one of your countrymen so comfortable with a football at his feet. Just the dream would have been him and Gold in the same team. I'm still bitter that Gold never got called up, but other than Gilmour, I actually don't see Clark making any changes, in all honesty, despite the fact I would play Forrest. I think he'll go with the same 11. Don't know about yourself, John.
I think it'll be the same. I wouldn't touch it. Like I said, I watched both the Croatia games. I think there's frailties in Perisic's pressing and defensive ability, and I think us playing, they're doing this weird thing where Kramaric is playing in behind, which is fine, but he's an out-and-out centre forward. So I think what will happen is with that 10 and the 9, and then Perisic on the left side, they'll get dragged into our right-hand side with McTominay, and I think it'll actually become really, really simple to get the ball to O'Donnell and forward, because Perisic, he's someone that I would always call is like a half presser. Like, he goes to get himself out of the game, he's like, all right, well, they passed around me, the ball's away, and that's what I keep seeing him do. I've seen him do it against Czech Republic. The first thing I did see with Croatia was I've never seen Luka Modric lose his cool on the pitch. Yeah. He was moaning at Dejan Lovren for not passing the ball forward. And yeah, this game feels ready-made to be tight the whole game, and for somebody with a bit of class, a bit of clinical finishing up top with Kevin Nisbet coming on and nicking a goal, because we've had 30 shots at goal and only 6 on target in this tournament, and one of them was for Stephen O'Donnell.
That's tired, isn't it?
So realistically, Stephen O'Donnell's hit a target with more accuracy than Lyndon Dykes or Che Adams has, and that worries me. But what wouldn't worry me is a chance falling to Kevin Nisbet in the last 15 minutes. I would be fairly confident that boy's got it in him to compose himself and finish it, and I think that's what will happen. I think Dykes and Adams will run them ragged for 70-75. It'll be level 0-0 or 1-1, and I can see Nisbet coming on and doing it, because I I think there's just like a story following this boy. Like, came on against Holland, scored within a couple of minutes, had a great season at Hibs. I think there's something there, and I think out of all the strikers, he's the least rounded striker because of his age, but he's 100% the best finisher in that team.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
I think that's a fair call, because Che's not known as a finisher.
No.
Like, a lot of the time when you watch Southampton, if he's playing, he'll be playing alongside someone that he's generally setting up for.
Yeah.
Dykes, again, is a set-up man. He just puts the hard yards in. He's not really that bothered about his goal-scoring record, because he knows what he's doing for the good of the team a lot of the time. The thing I would say with Dykes is when he gets on a run, he gets on a run, and he gets a good purple patch about him. So if we can get him a goal against Croatia, you never know, he might just kick on. We'll see, because he needs a goal, I think, at this point. But I still, like, there was a lot of Dykes criticism after the first game as well. I didn't really think he played that badly. He just didn't have the support, whereas he did get support with Che against England, and I think that's key, that the two of them must play now. And I agree with you with Nisbet coming on at some point, just to, especially when defences are tired, and he's got a wee burst about him as well. That's like, do you know, if I could combine Nisbet and Shankland into one player, I would love to do that, because they've both got elements that mean that they could step up. I think Nisbet's more likely now to be the boy that really kicks on, but I'm a big fan of him, and I don't think the stage is too big from either. He showed against Holland that he's not scared, and that's the most important thing for a young player coming in, that they've got no fear and they're confident in themselves. Billy Gilmore as well, we're well sorted for young players. Davy Turnbull's another one that will come out and just play their game, you know. So I think the next tournament's probably going to be better for us rather than this tournament is the way, but we've got the chance, we might as well go for it and try and get through finally to a knockout stage. I don't really know where to go for that. I've just kind of said my piece.
You know what it was? the one thing I would say, right, and this is touching a wee bit on Patterson. The thing I'm really enjoying about this crop of Scotland players, and I still include Andy Robertson and Tierney in that, because they're both under 26. Andy Robertson's the youngest captain at the tournament. That says loads about our team. Youngest captain at a major tournament. Tierney, Robertson, the swagger within them, John McGinn as well, is that this isn't like James Morrison and Matt Phillips that were playing international football and playing in the Premier League at the low level. These are boys who are dominating at the Premier League and putting in performance after performance. So there's this element of swagger, but I don't know who the journalist is, so I apologise. I seen it on Twitter this morning and read the article. It was an article with Billy Gilmore a year and a half ago after his Chelsea debut. And he said, "What's your aim?" And he goes, "My aim is to be nominated for World Player of the Year at some point in my career." And I just was like, oh my God. It's like, how long? Like, that's gone back to Dalglish and Souness days, Joe Jordan days, Archibald days, since we had that arrogance about us and actual self-belief that, oh my God, there's a player there that actually believes he could be voted playing centre mid as World Player of the Year. And when I've heard Patterson interviewed at Rangers, it's that same almost arrogance, that like self-belief. He's like, I'll break into this Rangers team, I'll play Champions League football, I'll play for Scotland, that's my dream. And you're like, yes. Instead of all these, like, the flip side of that is I loved Stephen O'Donnell's post-match interview. I loved that interview. That was everything about Scottish mentality that's been ingrained in us for years. You have to kind of create your own self-belief because nobody else will. But the underlying of this, and I hope like Patterson can pull on people like O'Donnell, Hanley, who have been through all the negative stuff and been through the struggles and not getting to tournaments, and pull on this, and then we've got this crop of these youngsters, Turnbull included, who are so super confident that they aren't, that, like almost like the Gareth Bales and Aaron Ramseys, that they will go and play for Real Madrid, Juventus. Like they have that about them, and they have that belief, and I'm like, this is excellent. This is so much fun to no longer be like, oh, if we get close, we'll be fine. It's actually not. I'd fully expect us to go back into our World Cup group after this and qualify, and I expect us to not miss out on any more than like one tournament in a row, maybe two at a max over the next 15-20 years, which would be just unbelievable.
It would be nice to get back to that consistency of qualification, wouldn't it? We were spoiled up till 98 that there was very rarely a big tournament we never made it to. I think we'll probably appreciate it a lot more now. Put it that way. Yeah. That's an interesting point made by Neil in the chat, because we were saying that Che Adams basically won his move to the Premier playing off Djukovic, and look, it's a very similar role to Dykes, that what he played, so it kind of suits and it sets up well. I kind of agree with that, and I'd say, as Lama says there as well, Dykes is probably better than Djukovic is as well, so it's familiar to Che. The way we play is familiar to a lot of the players, which goes in our favour as well, that they all know the system back to front, they're all pretty comfortable with what their role and responsibility is. Tierney has to play to make it work, that's the only issue.
Yep.
So hopefully his fitness holds up, but he didn't seem to have any ill effects against England, touchwood. There's no reason that we can't go and beat Croatia. It's purely going to come down to the goal scoring side of things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we get the first goal, brilliant. If we go behind, I fear for us. That's what I'd sum it up with, I think. It'd be nice to have a Gareth Bale.
Well, to be fair, I think I see Scotland as sort of like us, like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas because we struggled for ages to qualify for tournaments, and then once we got over that hurdle of getting to qualify for one, then you get the momentum rolling, and I can see that with Scotland. And now you've had that result against England, which we didn't get in the Euros. We lost, last minute. But I think you got that momentum. I think you'll beat Croatia, and then I can see it. Like you might even do what we did in 2016 and roll to the semis, and then have then it's sort of success breeds success, doesn't it? Once you've done one thing, then people want more, and I can see that with Scotland. I think that's what's going to happen. I hope it does, because I grew up remembering Scotland in the World Cups and Euros, and it's sort of well, yeah. But
I remember when Greg was the next big thing.
But it's sort of okay. I remember when Scotland used to qualify for tournaments, and I can't see why they can't do it now. I mean, you compare it to what the Scotland team is like with other teams in Europe, and they're just as good. With the Slovakias and things like that. They're not worse than them. So for me, I think it's all about confidence and momentum. And I think now Scotland have qualified for a tournament. They got the result against England. Very likely could get a result against Croatia. I mean, if you get to say the quarterfinals of this tournament, that'll be fantastic for Scottish football in the next 5-10 years. It'll really just give them a huge boost, and hopefully we'll see them back in the qualifying for major tournaments again.
Even getting through the group would be massive, so I've never done it. And despite the fact that obviously it's never been easier to get through with third place stipulation, anyone for Scotland gets us through. I'm pretty confident the way things are going to play out. At least it's in our hands going into the final game is the main thing. We're not kind of going into the final game thinking, oh, we need somebody to do this, or we need this, or we need that. Just look after ourselves. I think that helps us out a lot as well. But let's finish up there on a positive, shall we, from Clint. So, guys, thank you very much again for jumping on so early on a Sunday. Really appreciate it. I just realised I probably should be a bit nicer to Greg Wild, given he's in the Lowlands League now. I need to interview him at some point in this conversation.
I've got very fond memories of him, so don't worry.
Sorry, Greg, if you're watching, cracking player, wee man. But yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow morning, 9 AM, as per. We'll go through Italy, Wales, Switzerland, Turkey, and we'll start getting in depth about all these other cracking games that are coming up, including a certain one on Tuesday night. We'll get to that. But thanks again. Enjoy your days, enjoy the games, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers.